Hello viewers from wherever you're watching us from. You're watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and we're broadcasting live from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue. My name is Aliou Cisse, and this is your weekly State of Affairs program. Well, my guest tonight is Mr. Lamin Jabi, who is the Gambia's Minister of Communications and Digital Economy. Honorable Minister, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I know today we are going to discuss on so many issues regarding communications, GSM operators, something very close to home. I just hope I won't lose my job sooner or later for challenging on certain issues that are closer to home by the Honorable Minister. but anyway, that's a job we are tasked to do, to ask the questions that the public also, wants to know about. To start with, Honorable Minister, how will you assess the country's current state of, digital infrastructure? Of course, and what are your priorities to actually accelerate the digital, economy?
Thank you very much. I think where we stand today in terms of infrastructure, in terms of service delivery, the applications we are now using for so many transactions, especially within the fintech side, I think I am very comfortable with what we have, but we need to improve on it. There are so many gaps. In summary, you have infrastructure gaps, you have service layer gaps, applications, we have some problems with them. And when it comes to the utilization of the existing infrastructure that we are having, that is the fiber infrastructure, even in that, we have some gaps. So really, because for reasons of those gaps, we have, as a ministry, decided to consider a few areas that should be our focus of attention for at least for the next few years. Now, the first one, the most important is the need to have a second submarine cable for the country. You will realize that the Gambia is one country in West Africa which is having only one submarine cable connectivity. We are connected only to the ACE cable system. And the ACE cable is, unfortunately, very soon, the lifespan of the ACE cable, as far as the constructions and maintenance agreements of the cable, is coming to an end after 15 years, which means in the next 2 years, 6 months, or 3 years. There are moves for us to extend it further for an additional 5 years. But even if it is for the next 7 years, with one cable, all our traffic, incoming traffic, outgoing traffic, going through that cable, in fact, now is 100%. We are not using the satellite technologies for that, using it as sending out traffic. So if that cable is actually down or it comes to an end, what do we do as a country? So that's where our first focus is. The second focus is on the data center. Call it a tier 3, tier 4 data center. You can't have that without sufficient number of submarine cables that your country is connected to. So the more cables you have, submarine cable systems you have, the more attractive your data center would be, because you need customers, you need clients who will be using that data center. And a lot of things are changing in this country now. Almost people are going online. A lot of online transactions are taking place. Now, that data, where do you store it? Do we really want our data to go outside this country and be stored out, or we want to keep it here as an independent sovereign country? So the data center is also another important thing. Of course, the third one, which is very, very important, is the fintech system, the fintech that you have. Currently, everybody's using different applications to buy services online, to buy products online, and number of transactions. But we want full integration, whereby if you have your Wave, or if you have your APS application, or if you have Q Money, or if you have AfriMoney, or if you have Una Money, or all of them that are out there, if you have them, that application, the packet, you will be able to use that to send money to your bank account, different bank accounts. You should be able to get money from those bank accounts and send it anywhere you want to. So for that, you need system integration. So that integration per se, definitely we would want to focus on what is possible, what can we do together with the Central Bank of the Gambia. So we are also focusing on that. And of course, there are generally some policy and legal gaps. Those policy gaps are, you will recall, from 2000 to 2001, there is what you call the the infrastructure policies in West Africa were dominated by NICI policies, that is the National Infrastructure, whatever policy you call it for communication infrastructure. Those policies are phased in 4 stages. Phase 1, infrastructure development. Phase 2, that is for services. Phase 3, that is for applications. In fact, of course, the first phase, is the legal and regulatory framework. So, but in the Gambia's case, we almost never followed each of them logically at the beginning. We started with some policy things here and there, infrastructure here and there, some services, applications. Of course, there are gaps. We need to address those things if we really want to remain very effective and as a country with the ecosystem that we want to build. So these are areas we are currently focusing on.
And so far, since your appointment, what will you point to as your key achievements so far with all these things on the pipeline?
Okay. Now, at the infrastructure layer, since my appointment, I found some few policies there that we need to really repolish, one of which is the infrastructure sharing, And I've been able to take it to the cabinet. It is now approved that all operators, see what is happening. Any operator like QCell, like AfriCell, like GAMTEL, like NetPay, all of them, if they want to provide their services, some of them go and put up their own independent towers. We want to stop that. We want to make sure that these towers, because they are also a hazard, and the investment-wise is not very good, because I want to reduce the cost of that service of QCell, for example, because the tower you add to your network is a value, and that value is also a cost for who? For us, because we are the ones who are going to pay for it as consumers. But immediately I eliminate the need for you to put up that tower, but encourage that all of you start sharing that infrastructure, especially the fiber that we are having in this country. I think the potentials are there. There are many. So yes, I've been able to get the infrastructure sharing regulations approved at the level of the cabinet. I also think our biggest challenge that we have as a country or as a government when it comes to the way GAMTEL and the GAMTEL are being operated, you will realize I wouldn't want to point fingers to anybody per se, but I think it's all about the way we started this. We, as a country, have started liberalizing the sector some 24 years ago without actually commercializing GAMTEL as an institution. And our treatment of GAMTEL as a government company actually sometimes would not recognize or doesn't recognize the fact that GAMTEL is a private company by law. It's registered under the Companies Act, and to act as a private company, operate as such in this country. So the way we relate with GAMTEL and GAMTEL in those days, the control, and when they want to go out and do anything, the checks here and there, those restrictions really kill them from day one. And now you have too many employees whose focus area is, because GAMTEL is not in the service of, in the business of providing cleanings and services, security services. You have so many of them over there. So we thought it was necessary to really start downsizing these two institutions, reduce the number of the staff, make it efficient, but those staff also going, we prepare them for the next, where they are going to. So instead of subjecting them to the labor law rules of paying 6 months salary, you may end up getting $60,000, $50,000. A good number of them today get over $500,000 that we have paid. So today, as I speak to you, over almost 486 staff of GAMTEL, GAMTEL have agreed to go, and we have paid them. Government paid them through the what we call the relationship we have with the World Bank. The World Bank came in, and then we get some money so that we could pay them. We paid them almost about 210 million Gambian dollars to those 486 staff of both GAMTEL and GAMTEL. In addition to that, we've also paid them 6 months' salary to prepare them, at least even after paying them that package, we give them additional 6 months' salary for them to be working for 6 months as we prepare them to exit. And we didn't stop there. We also went into help them form companies. And those companies, like maybe a cleaning and service company, security company, we will be helping them to do that, and then they set up their own business and start moving on. So these are things we have so far done. At the level of the ministry, policy and legal, we're doing a lot. Our ICT Act, or the ICT bill per se, We have started reviewing it effectively. Hopefully, it would be presented to the cabinet before September. So many policy documents have been adopted and actually approved by the cabinet.
Aside from GAMTEL, GAMCEL, I mean, there are other institutions under your ministry for per se, I mean, Gampost and other institutions that are really not doing well. What are you doing to ensure you are able to sustain them?
Yes, thank you. Let me start with the Gampost one. The Gampost one, we have to completely revisit their operations. Look at the organizational setup and look at their core competence, what they are good at, and what they should be looking at, because technology somehow is challenging, or they see it as a challenge to their operations, which I think they should be looking at as an opportunity. And they have now started seeing it as an opportunity. So we've started a certain project with one UK-based company that will now be coming in for Gampost to start delivering so many other services through this specific unique technology. I think they plan to have this sign this agreement most probably in the next 2 weeks or so. So that is Gampost. Now, when it comes to JITA, JITA is also under our ministry, which is the Gambia Information Technology Authority or agency. JITA is doing a lot of things. In those days, you will see in government, one ministry, for example, agriculture, they go and do their own government projects. For ICTs, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Public Service, and all the other ministries, everybody was just doing things by themselves. We said, no, let's centralize it.
But that's what they want.
Yeah, so we said, let's centralize it. We have this entity which is there. And by the way, I carried out the feasibility study for the establishment of that entity. And at the end, I served there as a board member, and then we recruited the staff. They are now working, full-fledged, working. And then it's fully staffed. Now, what are they doing? All government projects, government agencies or government ministries, all projects. If you start it or you want to start it, you need a specific clearance from that agency. They will look at the cost models. They will look at the infrastructure you are bringing. They almost look at almost everything before they ask you to go and do it. And if they are looking at it, they look at almost across the board, which other ministry is doing what, so that the technologies we are bringing on board at the level of the government, those technologies really would be complementing one another.
So what happened to the information officers who are in this, or communication officers in all these ministries? Have they also been transferred?
Oh yes, that is the ICT cadre.
Yeah.
We've moved them now.
Okay.
So all of them now are placed under the JITA agency, okay. And then they are there and we are training them. A good number of them currently have sent, a month ago we sent almost 30 or so plus away for some training capacity building. This month too, we are sending a good number of them for capacity building.
And away from the Honorable Minister, for many Gambians, especially in rural areas, the issue of reliable internet remains a luxury. I mean, not something as fundamental as many will perceive it. So what exactly is your ministry doing, I mean, to ensure that divide, I mean, digital divide between urban and rural is addressed?
The first thing is the infrastructure sharing regulation. We want to enforce it now, once it is gazetted. In there, we want to make sure that we feel the point of presence of each of these operators in those parts of the country. Number two, we are revisiting the need to apply what we call the universal service obligation. So creating a universal service fund, to which fund each operator would be making some contribution at the end of every year. But that's going to be the last resort. That's just the last resort. Should we fail in doing it, and then failure is not in our vocabulary. So we feel that infrastructure sharing regulation is one thing that we can address it. Number two, we also want to make sure that there is efficient management and operation of our national backbone. Now, what is this national backbone? You have the ECO1, ECOWAS Water Area Network that covers the entire country. And you have the NBN. And you also have the ACE system, which is the international segment of it. Now, you will be surprised to know today that at ACE, as at the time I was leaving as the Director General of GSC, the capacity, the bandwidth capacity we have as a country was almost 6.2 to 6.3 million Muse kilometers. Now, have we utilized it, or at what level was the utilization? we were not utilizing more than 54% of that capacity at that time. Today, it may increase to, but not more than maybe 60%. Now, the 40% capacity is there that is to be utilized, needed by everybody. So, two issues are there. We want to make sure that the GSC's business model, we see how it is really altered or they modify it to suit their own benefits and the needs of the country. Number two, at the landing station, we want to make sure that the capacity flows out to those areas. But then it can only flow through the ECO1 backbone, that's the national backbone. If that national backbone is not having efficient management and control in terms of how do you allow access by other operators to utilize that backbone, if we can't do it, we won't be able to make it to those rural areas. These are things we are now pressing.
So do you believe internet access, should now be considered as a basic public utility, just like water and electricity?
But we want to go beyond calling it a utility. Like other countries have started adopting it, even in the West. It is a basic right now, right to access. And that access can only be through this internet. That's the first fundamental element we can look at. So we want to make it a right for everybody to have that access to this thing, which is so important. Because you cannot develop a digital economy if you really do not have the right access and easy access to that infrastructure, which we are using within the gains of digital economy.
But many will complain that the cost of data in this country is just beyond anyone's imagination. What are you doing?
That is,
and so,
yeah, cost is in relation to something.
Yeah.
This is a very small country. We are having how many operators? So many. You have GSM operators, almost 4. You have ISPs, 6, 7, 8 more. More have applied. And they are all competing within the same market. Now, and they are investing. So you would see, for example, if you eliminate unnecessary building of towers, you encourage infrastructure sharing, those things can impact on that cost of the service. That's what we are focusing on. I agree that the cost of data, internet access, is higher. And I think it needs to be addressed. So one of the ways to address this would be through structural measures and these other regulatory measures that we are looking at, as well as policies.
But for some people, it's like there's no effective regulation of these GSM operators. We have PURA, but many are saying PURA is not doing enough.
You see, that's what I'm saying. I have had the opportunity of this being posed to me before. What is PURA doing? You know, I want our own people, fellow Gambians, to understand. PURA as an institution is regulating almost 4 to 5 very important sectors of the economy. These are water, sanitation, transportation, energy, and ICTs. Now, if you look at it and you look at the institution as PURA, how many are there that have the capacity to do what is required of them based on the laws that they are to look at and implement? So we have capacity challenges there. And this capacity challenge may not be the fault of PURA as an institution. You build an institution and you give them some resources to be able to carry out their mandate. And those resources could also be a challenge. And that's what we are currently addressing. That is why, in fact, at the level of the cabinet, and I'm pleased to announce, His Excellency the President has agreed to the idea of having a PURA day, whereby almost all ministers, or most of the ministers, Minister from Environment, Minister from Fisheries, Minister from Energy, Minister for Transport, Minister for Information, that is Dr. Ismail Assise, our own ministry, Minister of Finance, all of us to converge, at least for a day or two, to hold what we call the PURA Day and look at how can we address some of those capacity challenges and other common challenges of PURA as an institution. And I've been pushing for that. Hopefully, within a week or two, we may just be very successful in having that, that particular PURA Day.
I know you've been following these days. There's this data 1 tera. Some are bringing to the lowest price you will ever imagine in this country. And one will ask if they can come this low as far as data is concerned. So why it is expensive? Why is it expensive if they can come?
That's the thing. You see at certain levels, some may see it not very expensive because the way they are getting it. At other levels, that is the common levels based on the current business models that we are seeing. Like I said, the business model that is currently at the level of the GSC, Gambia Submarine Cable Company, because that's where you have this capacity. That business model needs to be revisited. We have seen countries like Mauritania, what they have done. We have seen countries like Guinea-Conakry. These are our sister countries. We are all. These two countries are only having the ACE cable as their only submarine cable for connectivity, international connectivity. They have adopted a model where you create a pool, and from that pool, everybody can have access. But what is happening in our country is activations are done by individual companies for their capacities that are sitting at the level of the GSC. We want to look at that and then revisit it.
Well, viewers, you're watching QTV State of Affairs program. My name is Aliou Cisse, and my guest this week is Honorable Lamin Jabi, who is the Gambia's Minister of Communications and Digital Economy. We'll go with a short break, and when we return, discussion continues. Just to remind you, this program is sponsored by the Indian Institute of Hardware Technology Gambia, located on Kairaba Avenue.
Welcome to IHT Gambia, your gateway to world-class IT education and hands-on training. At IHT, choose from diploma programs tailored to today's in-demand tech fields, introduction to IT, database administration with data analytics, advanced software development, cybersecurity, multimedia, graphic design and digital marketing. AI and machine learning, Cisco Certified Network Associate, CCNA, Master Industry Leading Tools and Languages, Python, Java, Oracle, Cisco, Microsoft Visual Studio, and more to gain real-world skills that top employers seek. And right now, enjoy special discounts of $4,000 to $10,000 depending on your chosen program. Visit us at 55 Kairaba Avenue, Fejora, Kanefin Municipality. Call 3464-161, 4526-974, 6311-320, or learn more at ihtgambia.gm. IHT Gambia, connecting talent to opportunity.
Hello viewers, welcome back from that short break. You're watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and we're broadcasting live from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue. My name is Aliou Cisse, and this is your weekly State of Affairs program. My guest this week is Honorable Lamin Jabi, the Gambia's Minister of Communications and Digital Economy. Minister, let's now look at the issue of the fiber. Before you were talking about the fiber. We have seen QCell have rolled out a fiber, project across the country. At some point there was this partial lifting of a moratorium on fiber infrastructure, which actually has sparked debate, especially, like I said, following QCell's rollout of a new cable from, Upper River region to the Combos. Critics have questioned, the transparency and fairness. Can you clarify why the moratorium was partially lifted, and under what conditions was QCell permitted to proceed with laying its fiber network?
See, let's go back to what is available or provided by the law. QCell is one of the licensed entities in this country, just like GAMTEL, just like all the other operators. The law provides that license with clear terms. Go and provide your service to the people, and the law says it's technology neutral regulation, meaning you can use any technology to provide the services. Meaning, at the time, QCell, just like others were applying for their license, they submitted what you call their rollout plan, the next 5 years rollout plan. All of them do. And then where they would want to be within the next 5 years or 10 years. Now, as that was given to QCell like the others, we also recognize that there is what you call the national backbone, that is the ECOWAN backbone. And this ECOWAN backbone, we have, or GAMTEL and the government combined, because it's a grant and GAMTEL investment as well, of almost 33.26 million US dollars. And you also have the NBN, which is also about a $25 million investment. Now, that infrastructure is there covering the entire country. We were expecting GAMTEL to be providing connectivity service to other operators so that they also provide their services on this particular fiber connectivity. But of course, there are challenges. Sometimes in those days, because GAMTEL has its own challenges, which are financial, sometimes the fiber cut takes place before the replacement is done or the connectivity is really reactivated again. It takes time. Most of these operators then complain to PURA, the regulator, and the government. And then we felt that actually there may be a need for them to continue with the deployment of their own fiber. In fact, originally, there was no need for this moratorium to be placed on them, because the law says you are all, having the right to do, to provide this fiber. But of course, we need to be reasonable at times. We do not want duplicity of networks. We want efficiency. We want optimal utilization of any network that is deployed. For one of those reasons, the government came with this the full embargo, that no fiber deployment till we get the right regulatory framework in place, which was not there, number one, because of the infrastructure sharing. But then you see that some of them would also need to do or provide what you call backhauling services. Now, this backhauling service means you can actually lay out a network. From one point of your network to another point of your network, a service could be deployed so that you ensure or enhance that inter-network connectivity for backhauling only. So we lifted it to say, now all those who can, they can now deploy fiber. And it's not cheap. I understand QCell spend millions in order to deploy that. And then they deploy it within the parameters of the conditions given based on the partial lifting. Now, and the partial lifting is saying, it is partial lifting till we have the infrastructure sharing regulations passed by the cabinet. We have now passed that 2 weeks ago. We just want it to be in the Gazette, and then there is it. People will start rolling out, those who can afford to do it.
Was the National Assembly engaged in any way, or do you think there was no need to engage the Parliament?
Yes, I was called to the National Assembly, and I really appreciate the questions that came from them, centering on this particular question, the issue. So I answered, and then I think it is their right, because there is this select committee there, which looks at some of these developments.
There's a committee on ICT, shared by Alaji Mbowa.
Exactly. So, and I think they are doing a great job. So they called me, we explained, and then they in fact thought it was necessary we facilitate it. So we push it further. And then Cabinet happily, I have to say, and then I have to thank my boss, His Excellency the President, because we have a lot of Cabinet papers down there, but he gave it a priority to say, please, let us push this thing and then make sure that people, this issue is resolved. And I'm happy for that.
Isn't it one of the allegations being made by the public that, I mean, it could be perhaps there are certain GSM operators that are given favorable treatment when it comes to certain projects? Well, not my question. These are things that the public perceive. And it's good that you are here as a minister just to help clarify some of these allegations.
I understand.
Like I said at the beginning, it's not going to be an easy interview. And I was teasing you. I was like, I hope I will lose my job sooner or later for bringing up some of these issues. Because, I mean, these are public concerns. So
I understand. Yeah. Every individual is entitled to different ways of thinking. But unfortunately, I believe people understand or they know me. I am not that type of a person who could be pushed around just because I need to satisfy one person or against the other. That's not me. Yeah. I have worked with the GSC, which the membership is QCell, AfriCell, Comium, NetPage, Unique, INET, Government of the Gambia, GAMTEL, GAMCEL, they are all there. And I was the Director General there for almost some few years, 5 years or so. Nobody has been able to twist my hands. We are not doing anything to favor any particular operator. This is what the law provides. The law says there shall be technology neutral regulation. So our approaches to your operation or the operations of any entity is based on the fact that you are free to provide any technology provide any service using any technology, provided we also have the capacity, the monitoring capacity to understand what you are doing in the interest of all other operators, also in the interest of national security.
Do you feel somehow embarrassed when you look at the situation and you realize that GAMTEL is not in a position to be in charge of this as a Gambian?
No, I'm not really embarrassed by it. Like I said, I know GAMTEL. I've been with GAMTEL for so many years before I leave this country. Look, we have never given the opportunity to GAMTEL, just like others have given such opportunities to their incumbent operators. For example, in Senegal, you see today everybody's talking about Sonatel and the others. Yeah. No, because they got it right. If you want to introduce liberalization, you have to look at those state entities that are going to be affected. Commercialize them. And once you commercialize them, you introduce the liberalization. But in our case, we brought the cart before the horse. And that impacts on GAMTEL and then also on GAMCEL, on their efficiency. More so, we have this, the government then had that grip over what they can do and what they cannot do. Even for projects. And you sometimes may be looking at some of the monies that they were having or the revenues they were generating. You need to look at how to reinvest in the network. But that revenue itself was not even going to GAMTEL or GAMCEL in some of those days. So we think, I'm not embarrassed that today we are in what we are in. I believe that there was a failure at the beginning in those days, 20-something years ago. Maybe they did not know. Everybody was just looking at which way is better. I understand. But today...
But couldn't the current government has done better to improve the situation?
I think, in fact, what we are doing...
Because for some people, they're like, okay, GAMTEL perhaps was in coma, and then this government just come and just...
No, but this government has done this.
Exactly, yeah.
The best for GAMTEL right now. Look at what we have done. What we did is, first, we look at it. We brought them closer. Even paid salaries for GAMCEL. Pay their salaries. Look at some of their challenges. We didn't stop there. We could have just said, there's going to be reorganization. Let us look at the labor law. You guys are going to go. We want to lay off 700 staff, pay them 6 months each. Maximum money you could get for 750 staff. Look at an average, 100,000 times 700 staff. What is that? Nothing. But we went out to the World Bank. This government went out, negotiated with the World Bank, and we were able to get $6.4 million US. And we came to them and said to GAMTEL staff, and GAMTEL as an institution, you don't have this, we want to inject into it. First, let us address the personnel. And that personnel is who? The staff. A staff who is supposed to get under our law not more than $200,000 or $50,000. That staff is now seeing himself or herself going home with 500, 600,000, 1 million, whatever. I think we did great. And they are happy.
So how was the reaction of the president when he came up with this idea? Because I'm sure he's someone who always believes everything is possible. Like he was saying, innovative financing. Yeah. So when you brought up this idea? I could imagine, I mean, seeing almost hundreds of Gambians being laid off just like that.
I can tell you what...
Imagine as a president being faced with that.
He listens...
How many families are depending on those people?
Absolutely. Yeah. He listens very carefully. And he listens well. I remember when I first went in there, the first cabinet, he just looked at me and said, you know, on my table, the most difficult thing that I still have on my table is this GAMCEL. Yeah. We want it to be resolved. Yeah. And we expect and we believe you can do it. That is the first, he just welcomed me to say, he's ready to give me everything, all the support, so that I do it. And he did. He makes sure that we get this money. We took this money. We paid off the staff. We didn't tell them go home. We said to them again, still stay for 6 months as you prepare yourself to leave. Even for that 6 months, we again pay. In addition to that, we say, okay, don't go like that. We want to create companies for you. Those of you who are cleaners, we will create a cleaning company for you and give the support. Those of you who are security, we will create that for you and then you move. Even for those at the customer care service level, we are creating such things. All within the same amount of money, the sum of money that is given to us. Of course, this is based on the social plan.
Does it also extend to GAMCEL? Just to
Whether it's both GAMTEL, GAMCEL.
Okay.
In fact, if you look at it, the first target is GAMCEL.
Okay. Because we'll be saying GAMTEL, so maybe the viewers will be asking, what about GAMCEL?
Oh no, in fact, what we have is those who would benefit from it. We have almost 155 staff of GAMCEL benefit from it. 331 GAMTEL staff benefit from it. So in total, you will see almost that's the 486 staff. So it's both companies.
It's a good gesture. Thank you. I call him Mr. Infrastructure. That's the name I've given him now because he believes so much in infrastructure.
And let me say this. He is very dedicated to, he believes that, and we all believe in him, that ICT, digital economy, is the future for this country. Look at what we have added the value to. You would see, like the finance minister once appeared here before, that you will see, if you were having collectibles tax of about 10 billion Gambian dollars in 2022. You just made a few changes. Payments online, payments to bank using ICTs. By 2024, these collectibles increase from 10 billion to almost 20 billion. And this year, we are moving. We are going to go beyond possibly our target.
Let's now look at the issue of cybersecurity and data protection. I mean, we certainly know, I mean, with greater connectivity also comes, I mean, with greater risks and all those things. How equipped is the Gambia to protect our digital, I mean, borders? Is there any, how to call it, national cybersecurity strategy?
Oh yes, in fact we have validated one, and that's the policy is there, the strategy is there. We are pushing, we are doing a lot of capacity building this week, next week. We will have a good number of our people sent to other countries, particularly China, for some of those trainings. You know, cybersecurity is an everyday work. You cannot say, I am done.
It's evolving.
Every day it keeps evolving, and you have to do things. And it's a very expensive exercise. And you have to be vigilant. And we have that strategy, making sure that we implement it. And to say whether we have capacity or not, yes, we do. We have that capacity, not only within the ministry, but across the board, different government agencies and the like.
So how is your ministry, I mean, working to build that digital literacy, especially among young people?
Okay. First, we have come up with a number of policy documents out there that are validated. Strategic, documents are also there. We have strategies in place. These strategies relate to youth and women, agriculture, public service, and the like, across the board. Now, what we are doing as far as that capacity building needs is concerned, is we are making sure that we have a triangular relationship with few key ministries. Our ministry, Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Public Service. We are focusing more on that capacity side. Of course, we are also looking at the youth and women empowerment through ICTs. One component there is serious capacity building for them. And that strategic document is in place, and we are in fact implementing it.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Let's now look at the issue of the Starlink. I know you're expecting this question. I mean, what is the official status of this negotiation with Starlink?
You know, Starlink...
Because we have read reports that, I mean, the U.S. government is mounting pressure on the Gambia government to accept this, or they might freeze aid and all those things.
Well, I used to hear
exactly. Yeah. Please help us understand
those things before. Yeah. But you see, before my appointment as a minister, Starlink applied for a license.
Okay.
And when I got to my office, I found the license instrument on my table for signature. But I think the first requirement is when you come on board at any given time, before you put pen to paper, you look at what is submitted to you. I carried out a comprehensive review of that instrument, and I had some comments on the instrument, and I decided to re-engage both Starlink and PURA. In fact, I re-engaged them through PURA, because PURA is the regulator. They were having those discussions with PURA, not our ministry. PURA would normally do the assessments, submit the license instrument to us for signature. But then when I looked at those assessments and the findings and some concerns that came up, I thought it was necessary to re-engage PURA, which I did. Through Pura also, we engage Starlink. We ask few questions here and there, and they answered. They answered in good faith, and then we are really happy with their answers. So now, based on their answers, we thought it would be necessary to carry out further assessment.
Make us understand Starlink, for someone hearing for the first time, Starlink. What is this Starlink about?
Well, I think they would answer that better than, but I know that they provide satellite internet services. And then it's like you can buy their disk, a simple disk, buy it, you mount it anywhere, you have access to internet. And then when you want to have access to internet, you can have access to internet anywhere, either in your kitchen or at the farm, rice field, anywhere. You can even go walk with the panel. Some of them we understand are small, and you can have access to internet using the Starlink. And something believe that is faster, is efficient, is reliable. I had all that. I've never had the opportunity of using it. Okay. In fact, I can't tell you whether I have ever seen that the disk itself or touch it. But I can see it on the...
Isn't that surprising as a Honorable Minister that it seems you have minimal understanding or knowledge about this Starlink done?
I do. I do understand. Starlink as a company, I may not know much about it. Okay. But satellite internet, I do understand that. Okay. And I know satellite internet services, under what conditions you can provide the services, what are the risks involved in providing that services, what are the requirements for that services, what regulatory approaches you need to apply to them. I do understand all that. But for us, if I may just say it, one of the concerns is what was brought to me as a minister to sign is a VSAT license. VSAT.
Which you signed?
Which they asked me to sign. I didn't sign.
Okay, you didn't sign.
I didn't sign.
Why?
I did not sign because...
Who asked you to sign, and why didn't you sign?
No, because it's the normal practice.
Okay.
Pura would normally do their assessments. When they are comfortable, then they will write to the minister and say, we are happy and satisfied with this application. And then the applicant has satisfied some of our needs or all the needs. We recommend that you now issue a license to them. The license instrument is attached, please sign. It's the normal practice.
So why didn't you sign, Honorable?
I didn't sign because
yes.
I found so many things there. But one of the things is, the first fundamental thing is this. Look, you gave me a paper and say this is a VSAT license. And I asked Starlink, your technology and yourself as an institution, Starlink, are you a VSAT? And the answer is, we are not VSAT. Wow. So if you are not VSAT, how would you expect me to sign a license which is VSAT? I have to go and look for the appropriate license, get that, and have it signed and give it to them. So the law, so basically I'm just looking at the law. The law says VSAT license, these are the terms and conditions. If you give VSAT license to somebody who is not a VSAT, how can you regulate that person based on that license?
So can we say, in this case, you, the minister, you did a better due diligence than Pura that brought that document for you to sign?
Well, let me put it this way. Let me put it this way.
Because
Pura did all they could within the circumstances in those days. Okay. And then when...
Are you sure, Honorable Minister?
I think they did all they could within the capacity they have and within the circumstances. They did their best. They even went on a study tour, honestly.
To where?
To Rwanda, to Nigeria. And then they came back.
That's the problem. I mean, we have seen people go on due diligence, and when they come back, they do a different thing.
Yeah, but let me say this. Look, Pura as a regulatory institution, I think they have their boxes to tick. And
Did they consult you when they were doing this due diligence?
No, because I wasn't appointed as a minister.
Okay, you weren't appointed.
I wasn't there. That's the thing. That is why I would find it very difficult to comment on what happened before me. But what happened when I came in, this is it. I saw the instrument, I engaged Pura, and they are in agreement. They also saw that. But because it's the framework itself, assuming that a VSAT license may work for a satellite service provider license for internet.
So will you sign it anytime soon or not?
Oh yes, we are. In fact, I pushed through. The government, like I say, still the president is highly dedicated to internet access, easy access. So he constituted a committee. That committee asked us to constitute. We did. The committee is looking at it across the board. Pura is in that committee. Okay, we have other ministries in that committee, other agencies in that committee. And hopefully within the next few weeks, the committee will come with a report, which I will present to the cabinet. And that we expect the committee to be addressing the few issues that we have highlighted, once they address those issues and we are comfortable, really, we would love to have American companies to come and invest in the Gambia. There are so many great ones. You are using the Google, it's American company. You're using the Microsoft, American company. You are using the Wave, the WhatsApp, American company, the Wave. Oh, these are companies that really make a difference. And we want almost all of them here. In fact, if Starlink can come and even do other things bigger than even this internet service, they are invited. But we have to get it right from day one.
So is it true that you were under pressure from the U.S. government to approve the Starlink, or else they're going to freeze it to the government of the Gambia?
You see, Mr. pressure is a relative term.
Okay.
People can interpret different actions differently. Okay. Look, it's like if I pick a stone here and throw it at or on water, ripples radiate. If somebody asks, they will say, because I threw a stone. Somebody will also apply a different theory to it and say, so the yin and the yang theory may even be applied. For me, I didn't see that as a pressure. I saw it as they just want their company to be given a license to operate in this country, to add value to our services in this country. It's just that we are saying we have to do it right, within the right legal and regulatory framework.
So what are the financial terms between the government and Starlink?
In terms of what, if I may ask?
Coming to invest in the country.
Oh,
are they just coming just to come and invest and that's it, you just
no, what we want is...
I mean, whoever's coming to invest in the country, even the companies that are Gambian owned, like QCell, I mean, they have a financial commitment to the government.
In fact, that's what I said at the beginning.
Yeah.
If a company applies for a license, your license application is accompanied with what? Your rollout plan, how you want to roll out, your business investment plan, we need to see it. That includes employment and other things, other benefits, the technologies you want to use, we need to see them, the topology itself, the network you want to build, we want to see everything. These should be submitted together with the application. And we assess each of these components to arrive at the decision as to whether we give you a license or not.
So how affordable will the Starlink service be in the event you change your mind and say, okay, I'm going to sign it? Because it seems as we speak, you are not ready to put your signature on that document.
No, once we are satisfied with what we are carrying out currently, the results, if we are satisfied with that result, as I said, I'll be ready to sign any license, provided that licensee, once they come, they will add value to what we already have. Because this is something that you need to balance. Licensing is not just somebody applies and you give. You look at the licensee itself and you look at the licensing, the ecosystem. You balance what is needed. Now, if you only focus your interest or attention on the licensee and not looking at the ecosystem into which you are inviting that licensee to operate, you can have a problem. So we are looking at those assessments. Hopefully, once we are satisfied, we will do so. And we'll be happy to have any American company to really come and invest in the Gambia, because they are great companies.
But will they also provide job opportunities?
Okay, these are some of the things which are under consideration. Because look, this whole sector currently, the direct employment by all the other existing operators is about 2,992 employees.
Yes.
By all the operators, GAMTEL, GAMCEL, AfriCell, Unix Solution, QCell, NetPage, iNet.
I know that of QCell is in hundreds.
Yes. So
yes,
now
that I can confirm.
Now when you see those ones, I want to see that when they come, they also significantly add more other employees. So that's the focus. We want them to add to that employment.
So I mean, what will be your message, I mean, to former staff of GAMTEL and GAMCEL, who perhaps might still feel, yeah, the government has come in, you know, you have given this gesture, you have paid them some amount of, actually paid a huge amount of money just to lay them off, but perhaps they still believe, you know, you could have done better. At least, what message do you have for them?
I
am sure money is never enough.
Yes. I agree. I think I need to thank them very much. I have had the opportunity, because you remember there was a demonstration some of them started to have, and then I had the opportunity of really having a meeting with them. These are people who understand. These are people who are very patient. These are people really, if given the opportunity, they can do great things. I have seen that in them. And with that understanding that they have, they were patient, and we were able to give them this money. But this is not the end in itself.
Because some had went months without salary.
Yes,
or
exactly.
Salary
but that's
delay
not the end in itself. I can tell them clearly, with aplomb, that it's just going to be momentary. The digital economy we are creating for this country, a day will come, they will find themselves back into employment. They may even start saying how they wish they had done that without actually being employees of GAMTEL and GAMCEL. That is just there, and it's very soon we are going to get there. So to me, and for our staff at the ministry and the government of the Gambia, we appreciate that in them, for them to understand that this is what is needed to be done. But that is why we gave them all that money. So if you are expecting 50,000, and I took money that is really needed by other sectors, I deny all those sectors. And the president says, let us give them enough to make them to be comfortable. Not that would serve their purpose for the rest of their lives. But at least we have not looked at the law as it is. Because the law would have given some of them $50,000. What is $50,000 today to somebody, a family man, in the next 3 months or 2 months or a month is finished. But if you are expecting 50,000 and you find yourself receiving 600,000, 700,000, 800,000, 1 million, I think that is something we did. Very few governments will do that, and very few operators, in fact, will do that for their staff. They will only apply the law.
I know we're running out of time, but your message to GSM operators, internet service providers, what message do you have for them to ensure, that, like you said, internet, data, it's not just accessible, but it's made at least affordable for someone in my village, Dongoroba, and perhaps in President Barrow's, home village of Mankamankunda.
As well as my own village in Jarimekoto.
Okay, exactly.
But you see, my message is simple. Let them revisit their business models. Okay. Let them revisit the business model at the GSC. It cannot continue like that. Now, let them be ready to apply and comply with the infrastructure sharing regulations. If we can get this, the better. But they should also be ready to engage. If they have any constraints and challenges, let them not just take actions to address them by themselves. Where necessary, let them reach out either to PURA or to our ministry. And we are there, focusing on them. And we want to make sure that we all do the right thing for the sector, because we are growing a digital economy.
And finally, Honorable Minister, what legacy will you like to leave behind at the end of your term in office?
I want a cashless society.
Oh.
All transactions in this country, I want them to be done online. Okay. That's one. Number two, I want, as a digital economy, because we are going to be the real economy. Yeah. You soon, very soon forget about finance or whatever. Yeah. We are the economy. I want that in that economy to make sure that government, everyone butut, I don't mean a dollar, everyone butut that the government, that is owed to the government, is paid. I don't want any leakages. So, and
like we have seen with the Gambia Revenue Authority?
And I want full integration of all services and applications at different layers. If I can get that, I'll go and sleep. And the government will be comfortable with that. This is the vision of the government. And I believe we will achieve it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lamin Jabi, the Gambia's Minister of Communications and Digital Economy. He was my guest on this week's edition of your weekly State of Affairs program. I was your host, Aliou Cisse. On behalf of the production team and everyone here at QTV, we thank you so much for watching. Do join us next week. Until then, bye-bye from me.
Welcome to IHT Gambia, your gateway to world-class IT education and hands-on training. At IHT, choose from diploma programs tailored to today's in-demand tech fields: Introduction to IT, Database Administration with Data Analytics, Advanced Software Development, Cybersecurity, Multimedia, Graphic Design and Digital Marketing, AI and Machine Learning, Cisco Certified Network Associate, CCNA, Master Industry Leading Tools and Languages, Python, Java, Oracle, Cisco, Microsoft Visual Studio, and more to gain real-world skills that top employers seek. And right now, enjoy special discounts of $4,000 to $10,000, depending on your chosen program. Visit us at 55 Karoba Avenue, Fejora, Kanefing Municipality. Call 346461 4526974 6311320 or learn more at ihtgambia.gm. IHT Gambia, connecting talent to opportunity.